Hello there, seventh graders. I hope you had a great long weekend as we have our 4-day weekend now. So now we are going to start a new unit, okay? We are going to talk about unit rates, ratios, and it's part of our proportional reasoning. So this is back into volume 1 of our textbook and in our chapter 1. So here you have a couple examples of what a ratio would look like if you were to model it. Okay, so today we will compute unit rates in a fractional form. Compare unit rates. We already know how to compute addition, subtraction, multiplication, division with rational numbers. So 55 divided by 18. And remember, a fraction is basically division, okay? Some of them might be given in word problems, such as Sarah swims 55 meters in 18 seconds. We would have to find the unit rate for her speed. And why would we need to know this? Because we need to be able to analyze proportional relationships using proportional equations to solve the problem, such as y equals 3 and 600 times x. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our notes out and ready to fill them in. All right. So a ratio that compares two quantities with different kinds of units is called a rate. Okay, examples, you have 160 beats in 2 minutes. You have $55 per hour, $2.50 per gallon. Okay, those are different units. Our beats and our minutes are your units, and the rate is how much are you getting per minute. Okay, when a rate is simplified so that the denominator is 1, it is called a unit rate. How much is it for 1 beat per minute? That gives us our unit rate. Okay, so this ratio of 160 to 2, that's just giving you a rate. If you want to know how much it is for 1 minute, that makes it a unit rate. So hope you see the difference there. Okay, so to find your unit rate, we divide the numerator by the denominator. Okay, so our numerator is the 160 here. Our denominator is 2. So we just take 160, divide by 2, and we got 80 beats per minute. Okay, so here we have some examples. We're going to be given a ratio. We have to make it into a rate and then find the unit rate. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth for when necessary. Okay. So remember the hundredth. Oops. Get the pen going. We'll go blue. So our hundredth is the 2. That's our hundredth. Okay. All right. So we have 24 miles in 4 hours. Okay. So that is miles per hour. Taking it by the order it was given. You either look at how it is written, or if it's put as a question, you have to put it in a certain order too. Okay, so how many miles? 24 and 4 hours. Okay, well, we know luckily 4 can go to 24 easily by getting us 6 miles per 1 hour. Okay, so that's where you get miles per hour. How fast are you going for just 1 hour? All right, so that is our unit rate. This was our rate, unit rate. Okay, so now we have $330 for 6 hours. Okay, so our money's going to go on top and our hours on the bottom. Okay, so we got our $330 in 6 hours. Now that one's a little bit harder to do, so we're going to take our division. Okay, 6 can't go into 3, but it can go into 33 5 times. And then we get a 3. And it goes in another 5 times. Okay, so we would say this one is $55 per hour. Okay, maybe that's how much the person made in one day, and so that's how much they're making per hour. Okay, you get your rate and your unit rate. Okay, so now let's look at our third example. Going 220 miles on 8 gallons. Okay, so our miles are going to go on top, and then your gallons on the bottom. And 8. Oops, that kind of looks like a 6, but it's supposed to be a 0. All right, so now let's do our division. 220 with an 8. 8 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 20 twice. Minus 16. Oop, not 4. 6, 4, 6, 60. All right, so now 8 goes into 60. 6, 7 times. I think that one. And then put a decimal. That's 54. Okay, right? No, 56. I'm getting my subtractions wrong. And then 40. And that's 5. So we would say, how far can they go on 1 gallon? 27.5 miles per gallon. That is our answer right there. All right. So sometimes you gotta do that long division, and then you gotta put those decimals. Okay. Those decimals, and you gotta put that 0 to get where your answer should be. All right. So let's now go to our fourth example. $2 for 8 juice boxes. So how much are you spending on one juice box is what we are trying to find out. Okay, so money on top. We spent $2 on 8 boxes. Okay. Now this one, we are definitely going to have a decimal because can 8 go into 2? No. We got to add some zeros there. 8 can't go into 2, but it can go into 20 once again, 2 times. Minus 16. Now that is a 4. We get 40, and 5 times 8 equals our 40. Oops, go back. All right, so how much are we spending per juice box? You can say you're 25 cents per juice box. Okay, sometimes you don't have a fancy acronym that you can use. Okay, so now let's look down at the other ones. We're given a rate, then we have to do it in the way that they want us to. Okay, I'm going to switch my color for this stuff. All right, so we have a 24-ounce soda that costs $1.25. What is the price per ounce? That's what they're wanting us to do. Take your price of $1.25 and divide by how many ounces? Your 24. Then we're going to say how much it is per ounce. Okay. So then we're going to do some division. Take your 125, divide it by 24. Okay. Of course, that's where our decimal goes. The 24 can't go into 1, and it can't go into 2, or 12, I mean. So another 0 goes there. So then I'm going to think kind of estimating. If I had 25 cents, how many quarters would it take to make $1.25? That would be 5. So we're going to see what is 24 times 5. I get 2, 10, 11, 12, 120. Okay, so that gets us off to a right start, right? And then I gotta add a 0. Now 24 can go into 50 twice. Now remember, our direction is supposed to run to the nearest 100. So I don't really have to keep going because I can already tell, am I going to round my 5 cents to 6 cents? Well, my 2 here is not high enough to kick that 5 to a 6. So, and now that I have room to try to write my answer, I'm going to erase this over here. Okay. So we want to write this as it is 5 cents per ounce. Now, could I use this as well? Yes. Either way works. Okay. Either one, it's the same thing, just written differently. All right, Elijah can read 75 words per minute. What is his speed in words per second? Okay, so notice we were given minutes. And so we need to figure out, well, if he can read per minute, how many seconds are in 1 minute? That means I have 75 words every 60 seconds. Okay, so now I have to take my 75 and we're going to have to divide that by our 60. Okay, so 75 divided by 60. Well, 60 can go into 75 one time. And that leaves me with 15 left over. Put your decimal there then and bring down your 0. We got 150. Well, I know 60 times 2 is 120. Running a little bit out of space. And then add another 0. And 60 times 5 actually is 300, and that gets me to my 0. Okay, so what is his speed per second? 1.25 words per second. All right. Okay, so we need to pause that and then come back. The results of a swim meet are shown. Who swam the fastest? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so here we have our given event. How many meters were they going and how much time? A lot of kids would automatically say this one because it's the shortest amount of time. But he went the shortest distance, so he should have the shortest amount of time because he went shorter than everybody else. Okay, so if we took our time and we want to know how fast they can go in 1 meter, you would divide it, take this, and divide it by your 50. Okay, and you would get, if we rounded still to the nearest tenth, but he had 816 thousandths. All right, so this one we would divide by 100. So take your time and divide by how many meters, and we get our 602 thousandths. And of course, we're going to take this one now and divide it by 200. Okay, take your 112 and 4 tenths, divide that by 200, and we get 562. So which one is the smallest number? That tells us who went the fastest. Okay, so let's go with this one. So I would say Suzanne was the fastest because her unit rate is the smallest. The smallest means the fastest. Okay. All right. Hopefully you have that. Let's go back to the next page. All right, so we're going to use this graph over here to answer our questions. All right, so this is about the number of heartbeats for an active adult brown bear and then a hibernating brown bear. Remember hibernating? They're just sleeping. They're not doing anything. So what does the point 2 and 120? Now remember, this is always your x and then your y when you look at a graph. Okay, your x is telling you which way that way, and y tells you which way up and down. When I look at 2 and 20, we're right here. Oh wait, no, 2 and 120. I'm like, there's nothing there. 2 and 120 right here. That's what we're looking at. What is that showing us? Okay, well, that is an active brown bear. So the bear's heartbeat is 120 times in every 2 minutes. Okay, so in 2 minutes, the active brown bear's heartbeat was 120 times. All right, let's look at the next question. What does the ratio of the y-coordinate to the x-coordinate for each pair of the points on the graph represent? Well, what is x being represented as, and what is y being represented as? Okay, so is the ratio of the bear's heart rate per minute. Okay, so we talked about what is y, what is x. So your heartbeats to time in minutes. Remember, whenever you make graphs, you should always label them. All right, use the graph to find the bear's average heart rate when it's active and when it's hibernating. So here we know what is our 1. Okay, so for active, we have 60, almost looks like a B, but 60 beats per minute. And then hibernating, it's really hard to see what it is at 1, but we know what it is at 2. And so what's half of 24? 12. Okay, so we would say 12 beats per minute is their average. Alrighty. Okay, so now you have your exit ticket that you need to finish up. Find a unit rate, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Remember, your hundredth, this is our ones, our tens, our hundredths. Okay, and then you look at the next number. If it is 5 or higher, you raise up. If it is 0 to 4, you stay the same. I know there's some special rhyme. Okay, so same. Okay, so you only have a couple questions to do. Get that turned into your teacher so they can see how well you did with today's lesson. All right, have a great day, and we will see you soon.